we have been craving for the return of the PBA, and after a few games in the restart, we have had a lot of classics already, and hopefully more here today. It is the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok taking on the Blackwater Bossing at the Deep Sioux Gym at Bacolor, Pampanga. Bounce back in Bacolor. That's what Magnolia is looking for after taking in a tough, heartbreaking loss against the Meralco Bolts last time around. Magnolia dropped a game-losing layup to Chris Newsom at the end, and the Blackwater Bossing, well, they were a team that had a chance to make a comeback, but were the only team not able to mount a comeback last time around. My name is Pablo Del Rosario alongside Diego Dario, and two teams in different ends of the spectrum here. You have Magnolia near the top of the table, Blackwater without a win. Let's take a look first at the last game of the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok, Jegs. And this one was a collapse. I think it is fair to say that.
And that's for sure. You know, Meralco, they were trailing the whole game. Magnolia was actually in control. But in the last 2 minutes, Magnolia up by double digits. Credit to the Meralco defense for forcing a lot of turnovers and converting them into easy baskets. And, you know, like what you said, Chris Newsom with the last-minute game winner against Rome de la Rosa. What a move there. And, you know, Magnolia just wants to bounce back from that. Coach Chito Victolero said they just want to experience these kinds of losses early in the season rather in the playoffs.
Well, if you watch that game, a big story there was about Calvin Abueva. Calvin Abueva was able to put up big numbers, but had that offensive basket interference later on that actually really became a big factor towards the end. But if you look at those numbers, you want more of that from Calvin Abueva.
That was a crucial mistake actually on the part of Calvin Abueva, but he had an all-around performance in that game by the Beast in his home province. So expect Calvin Abueva to produce the same numbers all throughout this conference.
Speaking about someone who is consistent all the time, let's take a look at Paul Lee. Paul Lee, 21 big points last time around, 50% from beyond the arc. It was everything but the win from Paul, and we hope that we get something similar today. He looks fit, Jegs.
Well, of course, he was out with a hamstring injury before the PBA, took a break, a 1-month break, and he took this time to heal and to just go to rehab and heal his hamstring, and he's back into his old form. 21 points, and he's right away scoring most of his points from the three-point line.
Coach Chito Victolero says that he wanted to manage Paul Lee's minutes, but you know what? He still played 36 minutes. Let's take a look at the Blackwater bossing right now, as Blackwater, again, without a win so far in this particular conference. Take a look at that loss against TNT. They were actually competitive in that first half, but then defensively collapsed in the second.
It has been their problem, actually. Blackwater, their consistency has been the problem this conference. They would always, go toe-to-toe with some of the teams, but there would be stretches and quarters that they would just not get stops and couldn't make baskets. And you can see the second half points, they only had 33, and their rebounding has always been a problem. They need more productivity from their bigs, more action. So let's see if they're gonna bounce back in this game.
Well, their bigs will be tested in this particular contest as we take a look at the main big that they have. You mentioned a big man here. Let's take a look at Kelly Nabong. Kelly Nabong, easily one of the more colorful figures in the PBA. Very, very emotional in the way that he plays. And he also puts up big numbers, a double-double here for the Bossing last time around.
And a free agent pickup here for Blackwater. They gave him a chance, a short-term contract, but he's proving that he's worth, and he still belongs here in the PBA. 11 points, 12 rebounds, a double-double, and he has been consistent for this Blackwater team.
Now let's see whether or not that consistency could lead to their first victory here later on. And when you have Kelly Nabong being your big, you know that it's going to be physical. You know that defensively he's going to have an effort. And the guys playing against him, might end up with a couple of bruises.
You gotta watch out.
Yeah, because of the fact that he's so physical defensively. Now, I didn't say dirty, just very physical. And that should be fun. Now, taking a look at what else is fun with Blackwater, let's welcome back a member of the PBA family that we haven't seen in quite a bit until last time around. That's Carl Brian Cruz, CBC. And remember, it felt like he's been playing quite a while, didn't get as much minutes that he probably felt like he deserved in the past. Remember, he used to be a Gilas player, And right now, it was a great comeback for him against TNT, 11.6 rebounds and 2 steals.
I was able to play some games and practice with CBC, and we all know what he can do. He can shoot from the outside. In their last game, he had 11.6 rebounds, a lot of shots from the outside. So let's see if the resurgence of CBC will help Blackwater get their first win this conference.
When we return, the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok look to bounce back, and the Blackwater Bossing will try to get their first win. Don't go away.
This is the 2021 PBA Philippine Cup from the Don Honorio Ventura State University in Bacolor, Pampanga. Our first game for today features Magnolia Pambansang Manok Hotshots taking on Blackwater Bossing. And now let's meet the starters. First for Magnolia Pambansang Manok Hotshots. A 6'8 center from Lubao, Pampanga, number 10, Ian Sangalang. A 6'3 forward from Manipago, Pampanga, number 13, Calvin Abueva. A 6'3 forward from Olongapo City, number 19, Rome De La Rosa. A 5'8 guard from Cagayan de Oro City, number 6, Gio Halalon. And a 6'1 guard from Tondo, Manila, number 3, Paul Lee. Head coach for Magnolia is Chito Victorero. And now the starters for Blackwater Bossing. A 6'1 guard from Bicol, number 0, Simon Enciso. A 6'2 guard from Tingra, Ilocos Norte, number 8, Edda Kiwag. A 6'3 forward from Angeles City, number 23, Richard Escoto. A 6'4 forward from the Valiches, Quezon City, number 21, Carl Brian Cruz. And a 6'6 center from Santa Maria, Bulacan, number 33, Kelly Nabong. Head coach for Blackwater is Nash Rosella. Our referees for this game, Jimmy Mariano.
Take a look at the starters here for Magnolia and the Blackwater Bossing. I think it should be interesting to see how the guard matchup will shape out to be. Simon Enciso, the main threat of the Blackwater Bossing, will go up against Gio Halalon, who is a tenacious defender to say the least, Diego.
A pesky defender is Gio Halalon, so it's going to be interesting. What Simon Enciso will try to do here is he's going to be trying to be aggressive with Gio Halalon or to set up his teammates.
Magnolia win the tip. They are in all blue. Calvin Abueva moving the ball around, gives it to Paul Lee. Lee trying to find space here, moving it around. Gio Halalon thought about it, driving inside, and a little hot potato, but it ends up with Ian Sangala.
And great ball movement there by Magnolia. Gio Halalon attacking the paint, finding the big man, and the big man helps, finding another one down low.
Good start here for Magnolia, no jitters at all, moving the ball well. And now the Blackwater Bossing, we're going to try and figure out how they can get their first point here. We're talking about this off the air, Jex. And it is important for Blackwater not to devolve into just one-on-one play.
Yep, they have to make sure that they try to get good shots, open shots, and try to execute on their offense.
Magnolia moving the ball around once more. Paul Lee pulls up for 3, gets the foul, and will shoot 3.
You don't want to give Paul Lee, free shots here in the free throw line. He's one of the best, actually the best free throw shooter here in the PBA.
Don't get Paul Lee warm, because once he gets warm, once he gets hot, he's tough to stop. Napoli with 3 free ones from the line. But if you're Blackwater as well, you know, we saw already what happened last time around. They were competitive in that first half against a team, Titropang Giga, but were unable to sustain that in that second half. You have to stay close to a team like Magnolia if you want to stand a chance.
Yep, and that's the challenge here for this Blackwater team, the consistency. And also, I think the rebounds will help them. That's the greatest equalizer in the game of basketball. They need to have equal possessions with the other team if they want to have a chance to keep it close and give them a chance at the end game.
Paul Lee drains a couple. So it looks like he was only there to shoot just a couple of free throws. Again, tough from our angle. The game is taking place in Pampanga, and we're here in Manila. So maybe we're going to miss a couple of things that we should have seen, and a foul on the floor.
Only foul on number 6, Gio Ronaldo, his first one on Magnolia. 14 seconds on the shot clock.
Gio Lalon slapped with that early foul as Simon Enciso draws that one. CBC thought about it, little fake, finding Takiwag. Takiwag pulls up for 3. Great shot.
That's what you want if you're Blackwater. Try to move the ball around and get the quality look, and that's what happened there at the for the 3-point.
Cueva, little jab step, lost his footing, but then they find an open. De La Rosa can't answer back. Offensive rebound here. Again, you were talking about how rebounding could be the great equalizer, and they were spared there. Talking about Blackwater. CBC in the corner, moving to Nabong. Enciso on the attack. Great pass to the outside, and the Kiwag back-to-back.
And great job there by Simon Enciso, attacking the paint, looking for his shooters, and Ed Bakiwag with 2 early three-pointers here in this one.
It'll always be a bonus if they can get more production from guys not named Simon Enciso or Mike Colomia for the Blackwater bossing. Paul Lee almost lost a dribble but keeps it. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Extended jumper, no good. How difficult is it to keep up the energy that Blackwater have right now to start off against a team that is so used to grinding things out like Magnolia?
Well, you know, Magnolia has such a deep team, and they could, you know, get Mark Baroka off the bench. A lot of shooters. Their rookie Ahan Misi can go off the bench. So you have a lot of weapons. So if you're Blackwater, you want to make sure that, especially early in the game, you want to make stops just so that you have the chance. As you can see here, the Ed Takiwag 3.
Of course, and
the
the other angle, well, I don't know if they're going to review that, but maybe they might so. And we just saw a while ago that the Kiwag with a little Euro foul there, trying to stop the fast break, and I think that may be a point of emphasis there for Coach Nash Rosella to stop Magnolia from running, even at the expense of taking the foul.
That's true, and you know, you have to force them to the slow pitch down, because Magnolia, they love to run, they love to full court pressure.
Palalon. Trying to get things going here. They go to Sanggalang inside, but so many white shirts in the paint. Doesn't matter though.
And Ian Sanggalang using his length there over the big man of Blackwater.
Nabong inside. Can he get it back? And a second violation there for Nabong. Take a look at Ian again. Again, 3 white shirts inside.
But he's just too tall, too long for the big man of Blackwater. And you don't want to give Ian Sanggalang that left hook. That's where he goes. You want to make sure to force it right.
6 apiece right now for both Blackwater and Magnolia. Cabenabueva thought about it all the time in the world. Not that time though. CBC comes away with a rebound. Takiwag. Nabong. Pull up 3. That's good.
And this is what you want if you're Blackwater. Hitting shots early in this game, especially from the 3-point line. They take a lot of 3-pointers, just not a high percentage. But in this game, in this first quarter, they're hitting them at a high percentage.
Well, all their buckets have come from beyond the arc now, talking about Blackwater. Let's see whether or not that continues here. If you're Coach Nash Rosella, he wouldn't mind if all their shots came from beyond the arc and they made it. And just like that, 4 3-pointers now for the Blackwater bossing.
It's a three-point party for Blackwater. And they're going to keep taking that. Miss or make, they're going to keep taking that. That's for sure.
Sometimes they're just teams with great shooting nights, and at least here so far, Blackwater perfect from beyond the arc. And Ciso, does he want to get in the party? Yes, he does!
5 straight three-pointers for Blackwater. Great start for this team.
5 of 5 from beyond the arc. The Blackwater bossing forced Magnolia into a timeout. It started out with Dakiwag, and they move it around. Kelinabong got a 3, CBC got a 3, and the guy that we've all been waiting for to hit a bucket, Simon Enciso, also comes up with one. Take a look at CBC there. Boy, it's great to see his return, and it's great to see Blackwater shooting the lights out and give us something a lot to cheer about here early on in the first game at the PBA Philippine Cup 2021.
Mic test, mic test.
Welcome back to the Deep Sioux Gym in Bacolor, Pampanga. As we take a look at the Blackwater bossing, who have been perfect from beyond the arc, 5 of 5. And you know, if you're Coach Chito Victorero, you're hoping and wishing that they gotta miss sometime.
Eventually they're gonna miss. You gotta, believe the numbers, the percentages. But great job. Credit to Blackwater for finding the open shots from the outside.
For Magnolia, is it a question of coverage as well? Do you feel that they did not pressure the 3-ball enough at the opening part of this first quarter?
Well, with the way that Magnolia plays defense, they like to pack that paint, make sure that no one gets an easy drive. So it's really going to open up the 3-pointers for Blackwater.
Well, there you have it. They're already immediately trying to run people off the 3-point line and see, so there's pressure there in the first miss of Blackwater. Magnolia, a defensive stop there that they sorely needed. It was a 9-0 run for Blackwater right before that. Paul Lee now giving it to Abueva, moving things around. Not much happening in the interior for Magnolia. They now give it to Halalon. Halalon with a little drive gets to Abueva. Paul Lee from distance. Can't hit a 3.
So Magnolia not getting the rhythm here in the first quarter. I think they gotta get more players from the bench just to try and get more weapons in that offensive side.
And what a weapon that you can have there when you bring in a guy named Mark Paroja.
Yes, that he's gonna do this, pressure the guards from the backcourt, and also can hit buckets on the offensive side.
Challenging the playmaking there of Dakiwag. Nabong now to Enciso. Enciso little fake, but the pass just too much mustard in it. Nabong apologizing to Enciso, saying that that was a good look.
14 seconds on the shot clock.
Now if you're Blackwater getting off to a great start here, you can't let go, and mentally you're thinking about that third quarter you had last time around against TNT, wherein they led in 37-17.
Well, no lead is safe here in the PBA, and we've seen that in the past games in this PBA resumption. Most of the wins coming from behind. So if you're Blackwater, you want to make sure you stay aggressive, just like what Ed Dakiwag did right there.
Answering back with a 2 of his own after Mark Paroja ended the 9-0 run for the Blackwater bossing. Great pass there, finding Ian Sangalang. And a bit static there was Blackwater. felt like they weren't even ready for that possession.
So after they made a bucket, they gave up easy points on the other side, and you don't want that if you're Blackwater.
Games are getting a little bit quicker here in terms of pace. Who does that favor, Jegs?
It's going to be Magnolia for sure. They love running. They love to get easy points in transition and force turnovers.
Alalon thought about it. Driving in, finding Sanggalang in the dunker spot. Nothing there though. Good stop for Blackwater. A bit frantic here, and you have to feel that even Blackwater are trying to push the issue. How do they make it more productive though?
And I don't think you can do much with, Gio Halalon and Mark Baroka trying to pressure the guards of Blackwater. That's the only way to relieve pressure, is just to cross that half-court line as quick as you can so that you don't get trapped and double team with the Magnolia press.
Great to see Justin Melton in the game as well. Again, another player recovering from injury. And I do not know whether or not that's the reason why his hair looks the way it does.
Let's see if that hair is going to bring him some luck. But Kelly Nabong, still hot from the three-point line, is Blackwater.
Nabong found that rhythm, just started dribbling at the face of Sanggalang. Lalon moving things around. Melton out to Abueva. Trying to get some motion down here, trying to get a shooter free on the outside. Alalon thought about it, a little fake. Shot clock winding down, and that is a travel.
And he lifted that pivot foot there on the spin. So great call there by the referees.
Take a look at Nabong. All the confidence in the world. A little step back. He's a big, but plays like a guard.
Look at those guard skills by Kelly Nabong, and he's feeling it. But we all know that Kelly Nabong can hit it from the outside.
Nabong. Trying to find a teammate. Gives it to Tolomia. Tolomia shifting things around. CBC thought about it. Short shot clock again. Has to pull up, and what a block there from Abueva.
That's what you want. That's what you want if you're Magnolia. Try to get stops. Don't give up on the plays right here. And Calvin Abueva making sure that they get the possession.
Desiderio checks in now. Someone you're familiar with, Jegs.
Yep, that's for sure. Paul Desiderio, we already know that he's going to be aggressive on offense. Now trying to prove that he can also defend on the other side.
Abueva pulling up. Answers with a three, and you have to feel that Magnolia needed something like that.
And if you're Blackwater, I think you can live with that Calvin Abueva three. You'd rather have him take that compared to him driving and creating problems for the defense.
Pull up three, no good there. Desiderio a little over the back, it looks like, over Almisi. Now Abueva showcasing his range here. A bit too much time there for Blackwater's liking.
They're all pros here. They can make threes, especially when they're that open. So great pick and pop play there by Magnolia.
And now we're actually looking at the second unit now of Magnolia. And if you just rifle off the names that they have there, it is still such a loaded team that can do so much damage.
A lot of talent there in the bench of Magnolia.
Seramer let go of the ball and eventually gets the ball on their team's end after a bit of protestation. As Ante Paras will not check in, but Blackwater call for time. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Deep Sioux Gym in Bacolor, Pampanga, the site of the resumption of the PBA Philippine Cup 2021. Paulo Del Rosario alongside Diego Dario here. And you're looking at the second units, Jegs, of these two teams, and it is night and day. The distance is huge between, at least on paper, the quality of Magnolia and Blackwater. But then you have a guy like Baser Amer, who we know can produce at a high level. Hasn't really found his groove yet for Blackwater, but we know what he could do.
Yeah, slowly returning to his old form. Basermer actually played well in that last game, but we need more from him if they expect to win more games in this conference.
Catalonia will go to line and shoot two after getting a foul. And talking about resurgences once again, this guy, Tolomia, has found a bit of a little green patch here in terms of form because of the fact that he is now back with Coach Nash Rosella.
Yes, of course. It's different when you're a player, you know, when you're with a coach that you're familiar with. Coach Nash knows how to use Mike Tolomia. You're going to have that confidence to bring back your game compared to when he was with Meralco. He got limited minutes there. But right now, I think he found a home here in Blackwater.
And there's nothing like having a familiar face on the bench who knows what you could do, who's seen you grow up. Melton being pressured by Amer. Rafi Rivas now in the game as well, one of the more senior members of the PBA family. And you have to feel that this Magnolia offense a bit sputtering just a bit here, but Mark Barroca has a bit of space and drains the triple anyway.
And 1 second left in the shot clock there, but no problem for Mark Barroca.
Felt like that was 23 seconds of good defense until the end. Desiderio asking for more movement, but didn't really get it. Let's see what they can do here. Talking about Blackwater. Ball loses it. And now a chance for Magnolia to cut into the lead even more. Corpus, a lot of time. Nothing there though. And Rafi Rivas, just the tallest guy on the floor, is so long. They used to call him Giraffe Rivas, and you can see why.
And, you know, the problems for Blackwater, their defensive rebounding, still a problem for them. You know, they don't have tall big men in their lineup. A lot of them undersized, so they need more action. They need more hustle from them.
Baroka. Swing that around. Hanmisi, he can stroke it from three.
Specialty of the house there from Jerica Hanmisi. That's what he does. And if you're Blackwater, you want to make sure that you will let him drive, you close out on him on the three-point line.
Well, we've seen him do that so much in college for Adamson, and it's nice to see him translate that to the pros. Goya almost lost it, moving things around. Shot clock winding down once again. Amer to Paras, he pulls up for three. Not that time. The hot shooting of Blackwater now disappeared for them. Just a three-point lead. The bossing trying to figure something out here. Paras inside, just shrugged away. Mark Broca.
And great high-low play there from the bigs of Blackwater. Frank Golia seeing the advantage of Andre Paras against Mark Barroca.
Hanmisi. Now to Rivas. Hanmisi on the drive. He had a three a while ago, but will go to line to shoot two here.
So Hanmisi, guarded by a familiar face in Paul Desiderio. They had a lot of battles in college, but you can see here the high-low play. Frank Golia to Andre Paras with the reverse layup.
Again, just shrugging away Mark Barroca. It's like he knew that he was going to be there. Smart play from Paras. You mentioned the battles between Hanmisi and Desiderio in the past. And if memory serves right, it was actually Desiderio who got the upper hand in that matchup a couple of times. I think you were there.
Yep, I was there. I actually set up Paul in that play on his last shot against Adamson. But, you know, they're all in the pros now, still competing.
Right, so let's just talk about that Final Four match and not what happened in the finals.
Yeah,
right? Let's not talk about
we have to forget about the finals.
And great pressure there from Magnolia, just making things so uncomfortable for the bossing.
And if you're Blackwater, you expect this from Magnolia. Their full court pressure, this is their identity, forcing turnovers in the backcourt.
So much movement here for Magnolia. Will it result in an open look? Baroka using the pick, pulls up for two. That is good.
That's where Mark Baroka lives, especially after the ball screen in that mid-range game. He can hit that in a high percentage.
Zeramer goes all the way by himself. Cut through the soft double and finding space in the middle. Baroka now to Anmisi. Blackwater still clinging on to their lead. Two-possession ball game here. Baroka in front of Lomia, finding Corpus. Not that time. And Rafi Rivas, again, so much length. Golia struggling, trying to get rebounds.
And Golia actually did his part there by boxing him out, but Rafi Rivas almost got that rebound just because he's just way taller than the bigs of Blackwater.
But it's not just about being tall, it's about being in the right place
Position.
at the right time.
Yep.
And Rafi Rivas is a master of that.
And he's seen a lot in the PBA, that's for sure.
Well, a lot more than you and I, for sure. I mean, like in terms of even just watching the league. And a foul there from Baroka as Amer trying his best to just keep him away.
That was a foul to give there by Magnolia. Tried to reset the plays for Blackwater with 3 seconds left here in the first quarter.
4-point lead for Blackwater, trying to extend that just a bit. Simon and Ciso will check in and well, look for a quick pass inside and maybe give it back to Enciso. They go to Tolomia. He pulls up. That's a wild shot. Bank isn't open just yet for Blackwater, but they do have the lead over Magnolia. They started out red hot, hitting 3 after 3 after 3. But Magnolia chipping their way back like they always do. Can Blackwater hold on? Will they have the energy? Or will the Magnolia Hotshots just let go and let Blackwater have a chance towards the end? Action-packed first quarter, 26-22. Welcome back. You're watching the Honda PBA Philippine Cup 2021 and the Blackwater bossing of a very hot shooting first quarter. They have a 4-point lead over the Magnolia Hotshots, Pambansang Manok. Magnolia trying to bounce back from just their first defeat in the conference so far, losing it in heartbreaking fashion against the Morocco Bolts, while the Blackwater bossing for their first win. And based on what we've seen so far in the past few days, and I know on paper you might be thinking Blackwater might not be able to pull this off, but then you never know based on what we've seen just yesterday, the day before. It has been a fantastic return to the PBA, Jegs.
Anything can happen here in the PBA, and no lead is safe because these are all pros. They can hit buckets, they can defend. So anytime you just give them space and give them the opportunity to come back, they will.
Second quarter here at the D2 Gym. Calling this game from Manila. Game in Pampanga, and KG Canaleta grinding it from 3. He is one of the elite floor spacers in the league, Jegs.
And that's for sure. Early in his earliest in his PBA career, he was playing the 3, he was playing the 2 sometimes even, but you know, in his latter part of the career, he's been spreading the floor for Blackwater, just like what Corpus did there. But talking about KG Canaleta, he's just a great leader for this Blackwater team.
Corpus draining that triple there, but it has been mostly Blackwater from beyond the arc here. Let's see whether or not Magnolia can find their own rhythm. Tolomia, pull-up jumper, no good. Now we've seen Blackwater for the most part in this game, avoid a lot of one-on-ones, and that wasn't the case in that last possession. Corpus couldn't answer back. Could make it 2 for 2 rather.
And I think that would work for Blackwater. A lot of ball movement, ball screen actions, move the ball from right to left just to find quality shots.
Zeramer using the pick there from KG. Screen that around. Tolomia had a look. Anmisi in front of him. And that looked like a tough contact there. Paraso the offensive rebound though, but nothing. Baroka almost lost it to Tolomia, and Corpus, well, he hit the ground a while ago and still looks like he's still trying to find his bearings. Baroka kicks it out. Open look to Anmisi.
A great find there by Mark Baroka, using the ball screen, getting the ball to the paint and finding the open three-point shooter in Ahan Misi.
That hit no rim at all. In fact, I love it when the net looks different right after you hit that shot. Caneleta getting the foul from Corpus, and he knew that he was too handsy there. You know, I love Jackson Corpus's hair. I know that they're called the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok, but rarely do you find a player that tries to look a bit like their mascot with that with that big hair that he has right now.
And let's see if he changes his hair color actually in the second half. He does that sometimes.
Always a big fan of that every time I see him play. Enciso, oh, just cutting the double team. Open up for Tolomia, but he can't finish it. That would have been a great highlight. Chance now for Magnolia to take the lead here over Blackwater. They led by double digits, talking about the bossing. Corpus. Now to Halaron. Halaron's back in the ball game. Goes at it by himself, no good. Now Corpus, little fake little stutter step, but gives it up. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Ahan Misi going all the way, but that is tapped away by KG Canaleta.
Great recognition there by KG. He knew Ahan Misi was going for the layup and just tapping the ball out, forcing an inbound.
And you have to feel that had that been a younger player, that might have been a hard foul instead, but then the timing from KG.
The experience of KG, just using it there.
So they weren't done. There was a foreign object on the court.
What about here? Nothing? Don't worry about
So
that.
great call there by the referee. Safety first for the players.
What I love about the fact that we are in a bubble setup is that we can hear everything the players say, even if we cannot repeat it ourselves. Still with a 1-point lead, talking about Blackwater. Magnolia breathing down their necks. We were talking about how sometimes Blackwater have stretches wherein they can't get stops. But here so far, just clinging on. KG pulls up for three. That is good, despite the fact that Corpus was all up in his airspace.
A smooth stroke there by KG Canaleta. So 2 threes already for the veteran.
And BC thought about it, but take a look at the respect they have for his shooting. He was just there the entire time talking about the P1.
Of course, the scouting report, you don't want to go under on a guy like Ahan Misi. He can light the 3 up.
Take a look at this again in CISO, KG. You know, he saw Corpus and thought that, you know, he doesn't look like a Pambansang Manok. He looks like a traffic cone, just shot over him.
And with the way KG shoots the ball, it's above his head, so it's really tough to try to block that shot.
High pickup point and easy for him to just shoot over shorter defenders.
So I found a stat here from our resident PBA statman Fidel Mangonon. Canaleta is one of only 6 active players with at least 800 3-point field goals in the PBA.
Well, you know what? He may add on to that here today. Thank you very much, Sir Fidel, for that tidbit. And moving on again, that push shot just well short there. But Blackwater still have the advantage. And almost a 3-point opportunity there for Abueva to shoot 2.
It's a freight train there, Calvin Abueva. Nothing else you can do there but to give up the foul and prevent him from scoring an easy layup.
Two free throws for Calvin Abuela.
Calvin Weba will shoot 2. So far in this game, only a 3-pointer to his name, and that is his 4th point. Oh, KG Caneleta, so he's perfect from beyond the arc for today. He's only taken 2 shots. And on 4 minutes of play, 6 points. You'd say that that's very efficient.
Yep, and that's what KG does in the latter part of his career. Not long minutes for him, unless he's been, really playing well. But just quality minutes for KG Caneleta. And another great find there, Simon Enciso. One of the shots that he's gonna be thankful for. Free shot there, layup for Simon Enciso.
Simon Enciso now with 5 points after that great backdoor look. Of course, Robin Cruz credit the pass as well. And another foul in favor of the Magnolia Hotshots. And if you're Blackwater, so you're finding a bit of rhythm, you don't want them to stop the play, stop the pace, and take a look at Enciso. Just too quick there for Gio Halalon.
And that's what happens when you try to deny Enciso the ball. He's smart enough to go for that backdoor play.
Naban will check in for KG Canaleta. And again, another player who can stretch the floor. And that has been a consistent part of what Coach Nash wants to do. But so far, this conference hasn't necessarily paid off. But will it here? Calvin Beba drains 2. Kiwak hounded by Ahan Misi. Now CBC to Simon Enciso. Oh, De La Rosa, great defense there, and that should be a jump ball.
And Magnolia, great job of hedging that ball screen. Simon Enciso, you want to make sure that you're pressuring him, whether that's on a one-on-one situation or on a ball screen. So forcing the jump ball right there.
I love it when I think they may be the shortest guys on the court.
Most likely.
I love it when they go for a jump ball. And neither of them gets to it.
And no one touches the ball on that one.
Have you ever won jump balls?
I have never.
Okay,
I
I just had to ask that. I'm sorry, Diego. And there, Simon Enciso wins that one. But short shot clock here. Blackwater needs to hurry. The Kiwag recognizes it, just pulls up, no good. A bit rushed there. Maybe had a chance to find the pass. But we go on to the other side of the floor, open up for NBC. Not that time. Blackwater can count their lucky stars. And just when things were getting a bit frantic, Coach Nash sues for time here. 7 minutes left in the second quarter, and this timeout is brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA.
So Coach Nash took this timeout. He's not happy with some of the calls, so let's see what happens.
In case you forgot, let's take a look at the tournament format for the Philippine Cup. So each team, single round robin, play each other once, 11 games per team. Top 8 advance to the playoffs. The last 4 will be eliminated. Number 1 and 2 teams will have the twice to beat advantage against the number 8 and 7 respectively. Best of 3 in the quarters, best of 7 in the semis, and best of 7 in the finals. A lot to look forward to. A lot can still happen. If people can guess who will end up in the semis or the quarters as early as now, they're lying. We really don't know. It's too difficult.
You'll never know what's gonna happen, especially in the upcoming days with a short schedule as well. Not a lot of rest, but CBC continuing his hot streak from his last game.
Oh, CBC showing everyone that he's got the range. And he has had a fantastic start here to his time at Blackwater. Remember, the only reason why he got minutes early on is because of an injury to Marian Magat, who was one of the better producers for Blackwater.
One of the efficient big men for Blackwater. He does the dirty work, gets some rebounds, and tries to defend. But as you can see here, finding CBC, I think the closeout was too late there. CBC knocking it down from the top of the key.
Of course, Carl Brian Cruz, he has the green light, as does everyone in this Blackwater team. It's like Coach Nashasel will be upset if you don't shoot. Turnover there from Takiwag. Halalo going all the way, but Nabong there to swat it away.
Great defense there by Kelly Navong, and Mark Baroka smiling.
Take a look at that. The timing was perfect, and I'm not quite sure if Takiwag even got a hand on it as well. Halalo back to Baroka. 7 turnovers to 2, but that hasn't been back on Blackwater just yet. Halalo almost lost the handle there. Forced the shot and a foul on the rebound. It looks like that might be on Dennison.
And it will be on Ron Dennison. Of course, one of the pesky defenders as well here in the PBA.
He's one of the more active ones out there for sure. De La Rosa. Now to Lee. And well, we talked about him defending, not about Dennison, and it feels like that's his job, just to make life difficult on Paul Lee.
Yup, that's for sure. But I think right now he has 2 fouls for Blackwater.
2 free throws for Paul Lee.
Paul Lee has yet to hit a field goal in this game. All his buckets came from the line. He's 2 of 3, make that 3 of 4 after that one.
We don't expect Paul Lee to miss a lot from the free throw line, the league's best shooter from that area.
You know, it feels like even if Paul Lee is not scoring to his normal high standards, you give him just 5 minutes and he will score 20.
Yup, his
like he could do
confidence. His confidence is just up there, and I think he gets it from all his hard work. That's where he gets his confidence from. You know, we can see that he works out almost twice a day, 5 a.m. in the off season, works out in the afternoon as well, and you can see the results of his hard work.
If he's not making comedy on his social media, he's definitely in the gym getting buckets. And a foul there as they tried to blitz Takiwag.
Holding foul number 14, Mark Baroka, his second, 2 for the Hotshots. 14 seconds to shoot.
So 4-point lead here for Blackwater. Past the halfway point in the third, and Takiwag tried to do it all by himself there, but there's so many blue shirts.
He thought he had that size advantage against Mark Baroka, that's why he posted up, but Calvin Abueva, and one opportunity for him right there.
Well, like Calvin said, with a big smile, counted.
So right here, he was the trailing big, but he saw that he has the size advantage against Ed Takiwag. And right here, doing it on both ends, Calvin Abueva.
Great help defense there from Ian Sangalang to really surprise Takiwag as he turned around. He thought he was just dealing with Baroka, but then all of a sudden, you have Ian Sangalang there. It's like, oh, I didn't sign up for this. CBC, can he get a 3? Not that time. And it's nice to see the teams find a rhythm in terms of scoring. We've heard a few complaints right before the resumption as Ian Sangalang gets a bucket inside that the rims were a bit too hard last time around over in Pasig. And I don't know if that's a valid reason, but then the shooting's a lot hotter here in the resumption.
Yep, that's for sure. I think the break, didn't have an effect on the players. They're shooting well here in the PBA resumption. I hope it continues to do so.
Tied ball game here, 37 apiece. Blackwater led by as much as double digits, by as much as 10. Let's take a look at Ian Sangalang. Just a smooth operator inside, working against Kelly Nabong. Smooth footwork going to his left. And you mentioned it a while ago, you cannot give Ian his left.
Yup, that's for sure. You have to force him on the other side to his weak hand, because he doesn't really finish well from that side.
CBC now to Nabo. Desiderio working on Paul D. He has to pull up. It looked good, but unfortunately the shot wasn't there.
So it's going to be an offensive foul for Kelly Nabong.
So that'll be on Kelly Nabong, and Blackwater now in the penalty with 4:37 left in the first half. Now we talked a bit about that a while ago, Jegs, that it would be a problem if Blackwater keep on sending Magnolia to the line, and really couldn't have much complaints on the way that at least they're giving those fouls in particular.
Yeah, because these are free points. You want to make sure that you use your fouls wisely in the span of the game. So you have to make sure that you defend without fouling.
Magnolia now have the lead courtesy of a free throw from Ian Sangalang. He split his chances there. But can Blackwater make it a short trip up top there for Magnolia with this possession? Colomia and Misi in front of him. High pick and roll. So disciplined in terms of their defense, talking about Magnolia, but it doesn't matter for Kelly Nabong.
And Kelly Nabong just using his strength, using his big body, and trying to turn up the energy for his team.
Abueva dishing it out to Sangalang in the last second, but he throws it away. And Baroka with the foul on Colomia. Baroka asking what happened.
Of course, former FU Tamaraos going at it in the pros.
I'm pretty sure that they did not cross over though.
Oh, they didn't play with each other, but they have that relationship, that senior
For sure.
relationship. Always going to be a family when you're an alumnus of a school.
That is true. 4 blocks for Magnolia, 2 only for Blackwater, as the numbers show. CBC, he has a stroke, but not that time. Magnolia come away with the defensive rebound, and we've seen that earlier on. So in that first quarter, we saw them use Euro fouls to stop the fast break. But now the fact of the matter is that Blackwater are in the penalty, and they can't do that. So every time they stop fast breaks, they give away free throws.
Yup, and Mike Tolomia quickly apologizing to the coaching staff. He was probably not aware that they were in the penalty. So now they're going to give up 2 points for Magnolia.
He has to make this first.
Yep. Opportunity for 2 points.
Oh, so tuloy.
Oh, there,
1
1
point.
point
Oh,
na lang.
he has a chance for 1. Ano ba yan, Diego? KG Canareta checking in once again. And Sir Fidel mentioned that he is one of the remaining players in the PBA.
Who has 800 3-point field goals, so it's a great stat for KG.
Now chance to check out Lauren Brill, now part of Magnolia. Let's see what he can do here in limited minutes. Around 3:44 left here in the half. Tight ball game once again. And of course, if you're a young rookie who wants to impress and the Philippine audience is not familiar with you yet, you're gonna give it your all no matter what.
Yep, you gotta make sure to, make the most out of the opportunity of the minutes that you'll be getting.
Canaleta, not that time. And the ball will go to Magnolia. Great save there. The Hotshots, all the effort in the world, and too strong there for Calvin and Gio, just swiping at Kelly Nabong.
But it gets called for the foul there.
Fourth there for Magnolia in terms of team fouls. Blackwater again already in the penalty, 39 apiece here. Seramer conducting traffic now to Enciso. 8 seconds left on the shot clock. Seramer pulls up for 3. Can't hammer that down. They call for time here, talking about the Magnolia Hotshots, but put someone off. Tight ball game, 39 all, 2:46 left in the first half. And this time as brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. You're still watching the Honda PBA Philippine Cup 2021. Take a look at the numbers of Ian Sanggalang last time around against Meralco. A bit of a struggle there, 3 of 11 from the field, but already performing a lot better here. He has 9 points and 4 of 7 from the field here against the Blackwater bossing Jigs. Just how important is it for Coach Chito Victoria to get Ian going?
Well, they need that inside presence. You know, we all know that Mark Baroka, Paul Liahan, Misi can shoot from the outside, and teams will know that. Teams will try to defend that. But with Ian Sanggalang forcing, you know, his will, his presence inside the paint, that's going to be very important for Chito Victolero to have that balance on his offensive attacks.
And you know, if you're Ian Sanggalang, you're looking at the big men of the Blackwater bossing. They are physical, but then they do lack in height. You have to feel that this is something you have to take advantage of.
Yep, that's for sure.
Oren Brill, now to Abueva. He thought about it, and that is an offensive foul, just barreling into Kelly Nabong.
And Kelly Nabong, great position there outside the restricted zone as Calvin Abueva was driving. He was there early. I think if Calvin Abueva tried to shoot that would have been called for a blocking, but since he passed that ball, the refs will call that charging foul.
Take a look at the pressure now being applied by Magnolia. Just really manning up from the entire length of the floor. It's Ciso, a little hesitation, no good. And it's out for Magnolia to regain the lead here. Abueva, thinking about it, thought about it, and eventually passes the ball to Anmisi. And maybe Abueva should have shot it. Short shot clock here. Halalo, more set. He pulls up from the elbow, no good. Kelly Nabong comes away with the rebound. Still a tight ball game here. Chance to take the lead. Tolomia to KG. And that is a foul on Tolomia.
It's an offensive foul, so Abueva doing it on the other side as well. And you know, when Magnolia pressures the backcourt, the guards of Blackwater, it's not just to force turnovers. It's for Blackwater to, you know, get delayed in their offensive attacks, force them to rush things, and just spend some time on the shot clock.
Abueva pulls up for 3. Hey, you see, that time he didn't think about it. He just pulled up. Chance now for Blackwater to regain the lead once again. The scoring has slowed down for both teams here, and Ciso finding an open look. Kenny Nabong, a little stare down there, but no result.
So the 3 is not falling here for Blackwater compared to the first quarter.
Misi. Out to the inside. Sanggalang going to his right and shifted to his left. And KG, the timing was impeccable. And that is another offensive foul. Second one from Tolomia. And you have to feel that maybe, just maybe, he's a bit out of control today in terms of his running.
Yup, he hasn't gotten a lot of points. He is aggressive, but maybe a little too aggressive, especially on that possession.
Timeout here on the floor, 39 apiece, 55.3 left in the first half. back to the Sujin. 39 apiece here for Blackwater and Magnolia. And the scoring has slowed down just a bit for both. We'll take a look at the standings here. Magnolia still near the top, and winless is still the Blackwater bossing. You know, even if the bossing do win, they're still rooted at the bottom, but it's so important for them to get a victory if they want to have a shot to make it to the playoffs.
Well, it's important for them to rack up some wins just to get to that 8th spot, just to make it to the playoffs and give them a chance to play more games in the resumption of the PBA.
And you know, you have to feel that if they do get a win here, getting it against a Magnolia team is one of the teams that we expect to make a playoff run. As Yohalalo gives them back a lead with a triple, it could do well for their confidence.
Yep, that's for sure. You know, playing well against an experienced team like Magnolia, as we talk about Mike Tolomia being aggressive, he continues to attack that paint.
Tolomia getting that high off the glass at that point. 1 point lead now for Magnolia. And they take the lead going into the halftime break. Blackwater will at least have 5 seconds of possession left. Sanggalang felt the contact, but nothing there. Halalon, no. But then there is a whistle blown, and it looks like Brill will be shooting too.
This is what you want if you're Coach Chito Victolero, coming from your rookie, giving a lot of energy, hustle points inside the basketball court, and right now he's gonna have an opportunity for 2 points.
Well, if you're Coach Chito, you're happy that none of your players gave up despite the number of looks that they had. And if you're Blackwater, again, the frustration that you could not end the defensive possession with a rebound.
And again, the defensive rebounds still a problem for, you know, Blackwater. And this is not even the big man who's getting the rebounds. It's the small man who's crashing the board. So you got to make sure to box them out.
Well, Kelly Nabong and Lauren Brill just had a few words there. Of course, there's smiling faces involved, but I wish we could have heard what was said. I really wish we could.
But then again, we're still here in the studio, just calling the games.
Brill makes that one, and it's now a 3-point lead for Magnolia. 2.8 seconds left here in the half. What will they go with? And a foul on the floor with just a second left. In need of a minor miracle to get a shot off here.
Yup, let's see what Blackwater tries to do.
Foul on number 1, Jackson Corporal. 30-second timeout, Blackwater bossing.
And Blackwater call for time here, 30 seconds. So they're going to try to figure something out and make sure that they at least get a good look going into the first half. But overall, Blackwater has been a stop and start first half for them, and they've had that great start in that first quarter. Extend their lead to 10 points, but they need a bit more of that if they want to get out of the bottom of the standings.
And Coach Nash giving his assistant coaches the opportunity to draw up a play here. Coach Aris de Maunahan trying to draw up a play to probably get the extra points before the half ends.
And you know they probably worked on this before, like a short clock situations, and a chance here to practice that here again. Let's see if it comes to anything though. And nothing there. Oh, and Blackwater's upset that they felt that the clock ran
Too early.
and they may have a point unless maybe a Magnolia player touched it on
Yep.
the inbound, but I'm not quite sure. But you can see why they're upset based on that. But it looks like we are going to the halftime break. But let's see whether or not they reverse that. Let's take a look here.
No one touched it.
No one touched it, but it looks like, yes, the clock is already running.
Yep.
So yes, the Blackwater bossing do have a reason to be upset with that.
So it only runs when the ball touches any player's hands.
But it looks like,
Are you gonna let it go?
well, it looks like they are headed to the locker room anyway. I don't know if they're have a chance to review that or change things. But then it looks like Magnolia are not even in the court anymore. So a little gamesmanship there, I believe. Like how can you resume the play if the other team's not even there anymore? But regardless, it is now a lead for Magnolia, 44-41 at the end of the first half. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to the Honda PBA Philippine Cup 2021. 44-41 is the score here between the Magnolia Hotshots, Mapansang Manok, and the Blackwater Bossing. It was a hot scoring first quarter for Blackwater, but then Magnolia just chipped away, getting stops, getting turnovers, and eventually took the lead in the second. Let's take a look at that first quarter. We saw an explosion from three, courtesy of guys like Takiwag, Inciso, CBC, and even Kelly Nabong, and of course KG Canaleta. But then you had guys on the Magnolia side that just plugged away over and over again, Jago.
Yep, and that's their experience. Magnolia just, staying there, making sure they're doing the right things on both ends. Mark Baroka here pulling up for the mid-range jumper. And Blackwater in this first quarter, they did a great job of attacking the paint and finding their shooters.
Things started to change though in the second, despite looks like this. KG Canaleta getting that bucket despite the pressure coming from Jackson Corpus. But what changed here for Magnolia, Jago?
Well, they attacked the paint here. Paul Lee didn't even have extended minutes for this first half, but they made sure that they made stops and run on the other side, get transition buckets.
Take a look at more of the highlights here from the game in the first half, and the game highlights are brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. Take a look at the stats, the halftime break, and you look at the free throws that the Blackwater Bossing gave up, and you have to feel that is one of the points of concerns as well as a point of turnovers for Coach Nash Rosella.
And back when I was still playing with Blackwater, this has been the challenge for this team, defending without fouling. So they have to make sure that they just stay in front, be disciplined in their defense, and also take care of the basketball. Look at this, 17 points off the turnovers from Magnolia. They have to do a better job of attacking the pressure defense of the Magnolia guards.
And you have to feel, if you're Blackwater, it's time for a guard to really come up and be the general of the team in the second half. Take a look at the leading scorers here. Very even scoring here for Blackwater, and on the other side, Ian Sangalang finding some rhythm inside. Cabano Pueva finding ways to get to the foul line, getting stuff done the hard way. No standouts yet so far, but then take a look at Paul Lee and Simon Enciso. They could explode here in the second.
Yup, and we expect that to happen. Paul Lee and Simon Enciso, we all know they're gonna shoot their shots. That's what they do, that's what they're paid for. So let's see if they're gonna do that in this second half.
Again, the game highlights are brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. Still a lot to do here. Now, if you're Blackwater, you're remembering what happened last time around. That third quarter was terrible against a TNT Tropangiga. Gave up 37 points, only scoring 17. And you have to feel that that is something that they are emphasizing going into this one.
So what's important here for Blackwater is the first few minutes, probably the first half of this third quarter, just to make sure that they do the right things, take care of that basketball, and get some open looks by executing on offense.
And immediately, you see Magnolia applying pressure defense here. Really nothing too fancy, just making sure that every ball carrier is under pressure. Nabong pulls up against Sangalang, gets the shooter's bounce.
Soft touch there from Kelly Nabong. That's what he does. He's not really a back down big. He faces up against the other big man of the opponent.
Now can Blackwater get a stop? That was the question in the third quarter last time around against TNT. Paul Lee off the mark. Dakiwa comes away with a rebound and a foul off on Halalon. Giolalon with the third foul of the game for himself. Something possibly to watch out for if he gets another one here early in the second half.
And this is just a fun lineup for Magnolia. You know, Halalon and Baroka starting for Magnolia, making sure that they're gonna put pressure on the guards of Blackwater.
Kalinabong fouled on the floor, and we were talking about a while ago how Magnolia were getting a lot of fouls from Blackwater, but here, not even a minute played here in the third, have given 2 away to the Bossing.
So if you're Blackwater, you have to make sure that you be aggressive and try to get more fouls so they get easy points from the free throw line.
No good there for Escoto. Going inside, Abueva extending, but will go to line to shoot 2. And we were just talking about free throws a while ago, and it only takes 1 foul to send Magnolia to the line.
And this is the tough challenge of guarding Calvin Abueva on the pick and roll. He's just so fast, he's just so athletic that when he rolls, it's tough coverage for the big men of the other team.
Magnolia about to shoot their 19th and 20th free throw attempts of the game. Blackwater, on the other hand, have only shot 2 all game long. And you have to feel that that is a product of just how decisive Magnolia are in terms of attacking the boards, attacking the inside rather. 8 points, 7 rebounds, and blocks there for Calvin Abueva.
And on the other side, probably one of the reasons why Blackwater only has 2 free throws is because they've been shooting from the outside majority of the first half.
I'll take a look at some of the numbers here for the Blackwater Bossing, and you do have a point there. Most of their shots come from beyond the arc. 23 attempts from three-point land for Blackwater, and only 16 in the inside. And 24th attempt here, no good. Paul Lee going inside. Will go line to shoot 2. Again, another player you do not want to see on the line for Magnolia.
Again, the #1 free throw shooter in the PBA. He saw he had the quickness advantage against Richard Escoto.
Paul Lee, who probably maybe a couple of years ago, people might say that maybe he's a player that needs to get into shape more, but he used the off season, he used the time off to get his body right, and it really feels like it's paying dividends here. Again, 36 minutes in the last game that he played, and according to Coach Chito Victorero, that was actually him managing his minutes. Imagine about load management, 36 minutes.
Baka ganun ka-kondisyon si Paul Lee.
Moving the ball around now, CBC. Out to Dakiwag, 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and Gio Halalon just there to bother things, and 1 second left on the shot clock, and the ball will still stay with the white shirts. 5-point lead here for Magnolia. Blackwater offensively not getting much going, and he's so opportunistic talking about Gio Halalon. And in that little swipe there, he did have contact with Dakiwag, even though at the end of the day, it was him on the floor. Nabong for a 3, that is well short.
But you can see the defensive IQ of Gio Halalon. He knows that there's just 1 second on the shot clock. The ball will go nowhere. Dakiwag will just put up a shot, and he knew that.
Well, he knew where the offense was going, and he was there to pounce. Gio Halalon. Ryan Sangalang. Again, the question always is, can Blackwater get a stop? Paul Lee blocked there by Denison Zarn. Enciso. Nabo thought about it. Trying to find Enciso again. Enciso finally has it. He scores in bunches. Can he get going here? Kicks it out. Denison. CBC thought about it. 3 seconds on the shot clock. That shot was panicked and no good.
And you can see the activity of Magnolia not allowing Blackwater to execute by just putting pressure, making sure that there's always a man in front of the basketball.
Again, that pressure defense giving Blackwater so much to worry about on the offensive end. And so far, Blackwater haven't been doing a terrible job on the defensive end. And as I say that, oh no, still a good job defensively.
Good closeout there by Kelly Nabong on Ian Sangalang.
And the ball will stay with the blue shirts, it looks like. Take a look at that here. So Carl Brian Cruz with the foul. And so he had that elbow out just a bit, but I'm not sure if that made contact. And well, regardless, the referees did judge the foul on CBC. Whoever thought about it. Barroca all the time in the world. You don't want to leave him open, and that is why.
That's just too much space for Mark Barroca. He's going to shoot that all day.
Enciso. Now to Nabo. Gives it to Golia. Golia feels like he has the breadth and size advantage, but not enough strength there. Going the other way, and Sangalang with a lefty finish. Timeout, Blackwater, 10-point lead for Magnolia. Is this another third quarter collapse for the Blackwater bossing? Take a look at Mark Barroca all the time in the world, swishing that through. This timeout is brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. Coach Nash said that we just saw him there trying to get his boys in order. But let's take a look at Magnolia here, especially in that, well, in the lead up to the third quarter. Mark Barroca finding his way, finding his rhythm as he's done so often throughout his career.
And Mark Barroca, he can attack you in so many ways. He can shoot well from the outside and also from that mid-range. And he's one of the most efficient guards here in the PBA, top 3 when it comes to field goal percentage. And as you can see here, hasn't missed a shot in this game.
So if you are Blackwater, I think the instruction has to be put a guy on him.
Yep, that's
Put
for
a guy
sure.
on him. Make it difficult. So Magnolia, again, pressuring full court as they normally do. Denison, now to Golia. Now Simon Enciso. You have to feel he needs to get going. Enciso pulls up, no good. And a foul on the rebound. It looks like it will go the other way. Denison raising his hand.
With ball foul number 7, Ron Denison. That's his 4th foul. 14 fouls for Blackwater.
So the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok came out in this third quarter, more active on the defensive end and finding ways to attack Blackwater in ways that they aren't comfortable with. And so far that has been paying dividends despite the fact that Paul Lee hasn't been shooting well.
Yep, and that just shows the fact that, you know, Magnolia has so many weapons in their team. They have Barroca, Sangalang, Calvin Abueva, and Paul Lee doesn't even need to score every night for them to win ball games.
And Gio Alalan almost coming up with a steal there as well. Now Simon Enciso driving. He needs to get going, but still nothing there. And so far, it has felt that Magnolia could weather a poor shooting night from Paul Lee. But then if Simon Enciso's not going for Blackwater, that is gonna be a problem.
Of course, Simon Enciso, the leading scorer for Blackwater, usually puts up points in bunches, especially from the three-point line. Hasn't gotten a lot of that today.
So Paulie has 6 points so far, and Simon Enciso only has 5. Kelly Nabong getting on the board again for Blackwater here. Kelly Nabong leading all scorers for Blackwater. That is his 12th point, if I'm not mistaken. 8-point lead here for Magnolia. Ahan Misi, he gets a little space and makes them pay again. Doesn't even touch the ring.
And Ahan Misi, he loves going to that left pull-up jumper. That's his tendency ever since he was playing with Adamson. And he shows us what he can do right there.
Amer with the throwaway, another turnover and another point of the turnover for Magnolia. It has been one-way traffic here in the third. The Blackwater bossing have no answers, and that missed coverage there, giving Anisi too much space, is just indicative of how Magnolia are destroying Blackwater on the defensive end as well. And Abueva with an easy finish to extend their lead. Diego, if you're Coach Nash Racela, what are you telling everyone if you have guys like Cabanueva almost, or at least could be on the way to a triple-double if things go his way, and you are losing by a bit, and you have calls like that? Well, not really calls like that, but errors like that where you just give the ball away.
And you don't want that, if you're Coach Nash, just after a timeout, to settle things down, calling a play, and you just turn the ball over with an error like that. You don't want that. You have to make sure to take care of that basketball, especially with a team like Magnolia.
13 turnovers already for Blackwater, and you can bet that in terms of points of turnovers, that has been an issue for them as well. Points of turnovers, 21 for Magnolia, and boy, that has really been hurting them.
That's just almost, a third of their total points.
Golia going inside, and he'll shoot two. And you want to see more of that from Golia, because a while ago we saw him have a hard time just trying to impose his size on Ian Sangalang, and in terms of his width, he does have that advantage over Ian.
Yep, I think he has the strength advantage. Frank Golia is one of those big men who can match up even with taller guys, but he's just using his weight around.
Taking a look at a wide shot in the Deep Su gym, and well, based on sources, it's very cold there.
Oh, really?
It's very cold there. I'm happy for them because it's really hot out here in Manila.
Yep.
And the ball will go to the blue shirts after that missed attempt. Still 58-46 in favor of the Magnolia Hotshots, Pambansang Manok. As Kelly Nabong, his efforts well, didn't really pay off necessarily in that occasion, but then, that's something you're always going to expect from him. Someone who'll dive for the ball always. He will never give up for sure. In Sangalang up top, waiting for the play to develop. Halalon. You see A great pass inside and using his left again. Ian Sangalang finding the rhythm. We were looking for a bounce back game from him and we're getting that here.
Yup, over the right shoulder, still using his left hand. Ian Sangalang is money from that range.
Simon Enciso couldn't find Baser Amer, and Amer saw that flying pass. 14-point lead here for Magnolia. Chance to increase it even further. So back in the last game against TNT, they conceded 37 points in the third. So far here, only conceded 14, but guess what? They've only scored 5. Corpus pulls up for 3. That is good.
And Magnolia showing us that they can also have a three-point party. A couple of three-pointers here in the third quarter. Meanwhile, for Blackwater, still not a lot of rhythm in their offense.
Take a look at this again. So Melton finds Corpus wide open. And if you are Coach Nash, you're trying to figure out how do we stop these guys on the offensive end, because you're going to have moments like that. Kelly Nabong going inside and finding ways to score. It's now a matter of slowing down Magnolia and giving yourself a chance to catch up.
During times like these, maybe change up the looks for Blackwater, but as you can see, Kelly Nabong showing us what he can do in the post as well. Just trying to lift his team closer and closer to Magnolia.
Well, Magnolia, you're worried if you're Blackwater because they're starting to find the rhythm. The first quarter scored 22, and the second scored 22 as well. But right now, just past the halfway point of the second quarter, already with 16 points to their name, rather 19 points to their name. Nabong gets that one to fall. Much needed bucket there for the Bossy.
And talking about changing it up, Blackwater with their own version of a full court trap here, just to delay the offense of Magnolia. And they're now playing a zone defense, just switching it up, trying to disrupt the offense of Magnolia.
Great hands there. Delaying the action for Magnolia. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how often Blackwater will try to shift things around to keep Magnolia guessing on the offensive end. Corpus ran off the three-point line, goes at it by himself, and a good stop there for Blackwater. Bucket here could keep them in this. Enciso finding Nabong. Nabong has been the go-to guy here. Nabong fall away, no good. Golia could not collect the offensive rebound. Chance now for Magnolia to go on the run. Halalon sees a bit of space but finds Corpus. And Misi, now Halalon, all the time in the world, makes them pay.
And that's what you're gonna give up if you're playing a zone. The outside shots from Magnolia.
Well, Magnolia been finding ways to get it done, and you can see there was a bit of frustration there. Simon wanted Baser to take the shot. 17 assists already for Magnolia. Dakiwa trying to do it by himself, no good. And Misi on the run. Tried to give it to Rafi, but then he's saying, slow down, slow down.
So the rookie, a little bit in a rush there.
A bit too excited. Probably thought that Rafi would run
Yep.
like he was his age.
We all know what Rafi can do, even at his age.
Absolutely. Andre Paras checks in for Francolia, so another big with a different look.
And what I like about Andre Paras, every time he steps inside the basketball court, just a positive impact for Blackwater, no matter if that's 2, 3 minutes, or even 10 minutes. Last game, he actually had a great dunk and a great block, just to put the energy up for Blackwater.
And the thing with Andre, he plays bigger than his height.
Yup.
He finds ways to be a great rebounder, and at that point, not necessarily a great shooter in that particular shot, but there he is inside again, gets it done. He never gives up, and it's something that we love seeing in young players.
And again, the energy of Andre Paras, this is what you want to see from your rookies, you know, just making the most out of the minutes that is being given to them.
Corpus. Now to Baroka. Baroka using the pick there. Corpus thought about it. Gets the blow by Canaleta, but then shot clock violation. Good stop there from Blackwater. They need to string up a bit more of that to make sure that they stay in this one. Still a big lead though, 66-51. We'll take a look at the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok, who have just been on fire here in the third quarter. As we take a look at some of their looks from beyond the arc, and Jerica and Nisi in particular. Again, such a pure stroke, doesn't even touch the rim. It's like the ball is allergic to the rim every time he shoots it. See? Nothing! All the highlights we've showed you. Nothing but net.
And that's what Ahan Misi does, and credit to the Magnolia guards for finding him, getting the ball into the paint and kicking it out to your open shooters like the rookie in Ahan Misi.
I feel that if it touches the rim, it will miss. Okay, I think that's his thing. But we'll see. Tolomia going all the way by himself, and boy, that's actually characteristic of how the luck of Blackwater has been in some of their looks.
It was already inside the basketball rim.
And there again, it was a 50-50 ball that ended up with Rafi Rivas. And again, a bit of frustration there because Blackwater should have felt that they had that too and that stop. Rebound advantage for Magnolia as well has been an issue, ongoing issue for Blackwater throughout this conference, as KG misses that inside. I'd like to say that it would have been a different script today in terms of third quarter performances for Blackwater, but then that has not been the case so far. Again, being outscored 24-10 here in the third. It's not as bad as what happened last time, letting in 37 points against TNT and only scoring 17. And there's still a chance for Blackwater to make this a bit more respectable, at least in the third quarter scoring, but they have to get going, Jago.
And that's just too much for Blackwater, giving up so many points and not getting the rhythm on their offense. So you want to make sure after that third quarter, the energy is still there. Right now, I think it's lacking, especially on offense. They're not moving the ball around and try to get easy baskets.
11 points already for Mark Baroka. Make that 12. As we're seeing now the first minutes for Kyle Pascual on the floor for Magnolia. KG Canaleta now to Andre Paras. Trying to survey the field here. Tolomia using the pick. Tolomia using the pick again. Oh, and trying to extend, and finally gets that to fall. Pretty move coming from the FU Tamarao.
So earlier, the ball went out. This time, it rattles all the way home for 2 points for Mike Tolomia.
Gambled on the steal, and Ahan Misi. I told you, it hits the rim, it doesn't go in.
Miss.
Ahan Misi this time on the drive. Pass too hot for Corpus. Now on the run, Tolomia with a finish, back-to-back buckets there for Blackwater, but still a 15-point lead to try and overturn.
But this is what you want if you're Blackwater. Try to make stops, force turnovers, and get easy baskets just to trim the lead down.
Baroka. Now to Corpus, KG in front of him. Kyle Pascual, he pulls up in front of Andre Paras, no good. Chance now to go a little mini run here. Dakiwa gives it up to KG. KG thought about it, now to Tolomia. Magnolia trying to attack Nisi. 3 shirts in front of him, but it doesn't matter. He has been a man on a mission. Will go to line to shoot a bonus.
And the aggressiveness of Mike Tolomia trying to attack the rookie Ahan Misi, and an acrobatic finish by Mike Tolomia. He loves going to that right, but I think Andre Perez might have touched the
Yeah, I
rim
was going to say.
on that finish.
Will that count?
Because last game, Abueva had his own version of that.
Absolutely. So the baskets will count, courtesy of our Margaret Noel Zarate. So Mike Tolomia will shoot a bonus here. And if you're Magnolia or a fan of Magnolia, you are frustrated right now.
You don't want a deja vu in this game. We all know that, the double-digit lead of Magnolia last 2 minutes in the last game against Meralco, they gave it up. Gave that game up for that win for Meralco.
And you know what? If you're Blackwater, you're also thinking, it feels like we're the only team who hasn't had a comeback yet. So this might be it. You're hoping that it could happen here, but still a long way to go. Baroka going inside to Rome De La Rosa, no good. Short difference between shot and game clock. Do they recognize that here? Then you have the coaching staff of Blackwater. You see it on the bottom of your screen. Telling them to slow things down. Make this the last possession. Tolomia giving it up. KG. 4 seconds left on the shot clock. He lets go of it, and Magnolia just push that forward, and that'll do it after a frantic end of the third. We were looking for Blackwater to try and find a way back into this ball game, and a last minute or so control from Mike Tolomia, just grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck, getting Blackwater back in this game. Magnolia are not out of the woods just yet. 70-57 going into the fourth. Now looking at Kelly Nabong, who already has a double-double in the game here, and you have to feel is one of the big reasons why they're still in this contest, talking about the Blackwater bossing. Of course, that is despite the fact that they are trading 70-57. Still a long way to go here, and that last-minute burst from Blackwater, you feel, made a huge difference. But as I say that, Rome De La Rosa getting a bucket inside.
And great execution there by Magnolia in that cross screen, setting up Rome De La Rosa for that inside bucket.
Tolomia. Amer, 4-3. This could be big.
And that's a welcome sight for Coach Nash Rosella. Baser Amer hitting that three-pointer.
We've seen him do that over and over again for teams that made it to the finals in the Meralco Bolts. Can he replicate that here with Blackwater? And that is a great sign for them. Boldy, pull up 3. That is good.
And Paul Lee will always shoot his shot no matter how many misses he has gotten in this game, he's going to continue to light it up, especially from the three-point line.
Well, we're expecting, or we were hoping that Paul Lee would find his rhythm and hit shots, and he finally did. Amer, though, answering back with a deuce.
So Blackwater getting their buckets here in the fourth quarter, but they need to make stops just for them to cut down to this lead.
Has been tough defensively for Blackwater in general, but can they find answers here? Amer was on the floor. And now Abueva finding Pascual, but Pascual found it tapped away. And we were looking for that guy, Joshua Taralba. We know that he's a shooter. We know that he is a guard who can handle the ball as well. But let's see if he can make a difference here in the fourth. Boldy. Oh, and he makes it anyway. And you gotta feel for Josh Toralba, because the first thing he has to do as soon as he enters the game is to check Paul Lee.
And that's a tough assignment. Trying to guard Paul Lee, he can shoot from the outside. You have to close out on him. And Paul Lee just smart enough for that small bump and the balance and focus to continue the bucket with a foul.
Paul Lee gets that to fall. It feels almost automatic every time he hits the free throw stripe. Seramer. Again, Blackwater stay in this one. And again, the defense of Magnolia all over the place. Amer forcing the issue. He'll go to the line to shoot two.
So again, Blackwater getting their opportunities in the offensive side. They need to make stops, probably put pressure on the guards of Magnolia.
Well, Basaramer, he's had a great start here to the fourth. 5 of his 7 points have already come here in the fourth quarter. He adds to that here. So Frank Golia checks back in for Andre Paras. And then the Kiwag for Mike Talomia. Different look here for Blackwater.
You expect Blackwater to put pressure here in the backcourt. Usually they do this after a free throw.
Oh, you would know that.
Yep.
De La Rosa gives it to Pascual. Baroka, seeing the big man in front of him. He had a little bit of space and got that to fall.
And again, we were talking about it. That's where Mark Baroka lives, in the mid-range. That's just easy money for Mark Baroka.
Toralba thought about it, driving, kicking it out. Good defense here from Magnolia. Not much development here. Toralba, he can shoot it, not that time. Abueva now to Lee. And good double there coming from Blackwater, rushing the pass, and that was wild there coming from Paul.
And that's what you want if you're guarding Paul Lee. Make sure to be aggressive on him, especially on the handoffs, on the ball screens. Not give him open looks.
KG, now to Toralba. Back to the Kiwag. Kiwag off the drive. Little push shot is no good. Amer for 3, not that time. Gets his own miss though. Can he get it from the corner? Not so.
And you love the green light for Basaramer, but just couldn't finish on that 3.
How about Paul Lee? All the time in the world, and you know what's happening. Almost as good as a free throw.
And that's way behind the 3-point line. We all know that he can make those kinds of buckets. Paul Lee, logo 3.
You know, it feels that we saw it coming as soon as he got the ball with that amount of time and space. Toralba trying to find the Kiwag inside, a bit too clever with it, goes at it by himself, nothing there. And now Blackwater just struggling for answers on the offensive end.
And they've been getting open looks actually. Two 3-pointers by Basaramer could have made that. But look at this. From way behind the 3-point line, Paul Lee doesn't even touch rim as well.
It feels like it's a layup for him. Every time he gets a time and space in that side of the court, so Blackwater now bring in some more of their heavy hitters here. Talking about Simon Enciso and Carl Brian Cruz, who has turned out to be a good offensive weapon for the Blackwater bossing. And again, Paul Lee just trying to dance in front of Toralba, and Toralba does the job this time though. Again, you're seeing Blackwater throw so many different looks at Paul Lee, different defenders, and now you have Denison, who's the primary defender of Paul Lee, and for the better part of the game has done a good job. But really, it's just a matter of time before Paul Lee scores.
But eventually, you know, great players do what they do. They find a way to contribute, and scoring is the number one way for Paul Lee to contribute.
Simon Enciso, he wants to contribute as well, but hits the side of the board. Didn't feel like he got his footing right there.
With the shot of Carl Brian Cruz, you have to give him time and space for him to shoot, because it's a kind of like a two-motion shot, not really a quick release.
Yeah.
But when he gets that space, he can make it.
Oh, we've seen that all throughout his career, either with Alaska, with Gilas, and now with Blackwater. Baroka finds Abueva. Abueva attacking Enciso. Brushes off Enciso. There was a man down, but that doesn't matter because Blackwater get the stop. And again, former Gilas teammates there in terms of Baroka and CBC. And I'm sure some of the words said there are not fit to air.
Of course. Opponents on the court, but friends off the court. A lot of these players are.
BBC directing traffic here, trying to get more motion. Trying to free up Simon Enciso outside. They eventually do, but they go in instead. And Escoto with the finish.
And great recognition there by Blackwater. They saw that Richard Escoto was matched up with the smaller Baroka, and he sealed the inside position for the easy bucket.
Baroka just finishing right in front of Nabong. Nabong didn't even raise his hand up because Baroka is just so quick at just pulling up from the mid-range.
It's just automatic for him, especially in today's game. Top 3 in field goal percentage, and we can see why.
Kiwa, can he get a triple here to get them back into this one? And a foul from behind. Richard Escoto judged with that one. 85-66 is the score near the halfway point of the fourth quarter. Again, we've seen so many strange things in the past few days in terms of late comebacks. But then if you're Blackwater, you're thinking if you want to be even in that neighborhood, you have to start getting buckets and continue to get stops.
Yep, they have to make a run because time is not on their side in this quarter.
Jonicio now in the game as well. Baroka, pull-up jumper. No good there, but Jonicio doing a good job preserving the possession for Magnolia. Baroka trying to find Sangalang, but active hands there from Nabong. Nabong tries to push that forward to the Kiwag, and that should be a blocking foul.
And it's gonna be an out of bounds. It won't count. But Blackwater, this is what you need. Stops and easy buckets in transition.
Tolomea checks in for Ed Kiwag. So again, this arguably is the best offensive lineup for the Blackwater bossing.
Yes, you have Mike Tolomea who can score, Simon Enciso who can light it up from 3, and CBC and Kelly Nabong scoring big men as well.
And you know, you have to feel that, oh, Kelly Nabong getting the finish anyway. And you have to feel that they still have another weapon in KG Canaleta on the bench who could come in and space the floor even further. Almost a missed defensive coverage there for Blackwater, but they eventually sorted it out.
I think that was because they switched it up from a man to zone, trying to disrupt the offense of Magnolia.
They ended up almost being the ones disrupted, and BC comes away with the offensive rebound and the bucket. CBC, all the time in the world. Not that time though, as Yohalalo comes away with the rebound.
You love how Gio Halalo just gets to his rebounds. You know, one of the best rebounding guards here in the PBA.
Right place, right time. You don't need to jump that high, just have to be there. Benicio. Cueva. Halalon trying to imitate Baroka, but not that time.
Just a few more tips there, few more sessions with Mark Baroka.
Colombia. 19-point lead for Magnolia. Can they trim it down here? Yes, they can. That was pure. Not out of the woods yet. Remember, under 2 minutes, Magnolia were leading by 13 and still was not able to come away with the victory.
That was in
BC
the
on
last
mark.
2 minutes.
Inciso. Antonabo. Tolomia. That is big.
And a couple of points here from Mike Tolomia. He's really a streaky shooter, streaky scorer. So back-to-back jumpers from Mike Tolomia.
And Magnolia right now trying to find the ways to stop the tide of the Blackwater. 87-73. Paul Lee has started to find his rhythm here late in the game, as we expected, because we know his body of work. Unfortunately for him and the rest of the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok, that has not been enough to put away this Blackwater bossing team that refuses to go away. 9 points in the quarter for Paul Lee, but still Magnolia only lead Blackwater by 1 in quarter scoring here in the fourth. They lead though 87-73.
So Paul Lee, silent in the first few quarters, now in the fourth quarter getting his rhythm. He's never in a rush while he attempts for another 3 that time.
I'm not gonna lie, Jago, I thought I was going in. Kelly Nabong on the attack, and that counts for Kelly Nabong. Again, if you are a Pure Foods fan, if you're a Magnolia fan, you are worried based on their last game.
So is it gonna happen again? Kelly Nabong, you're forced to close out on him. He can shoot that 3-pointer, and great drive by Kelly Nabong. Another opportunity for an extra point.
Oh, Kelly. 87-75, chance to trim this down even further. Free throw was too strong. The question always, as always for Blackwater, can they consistently get stops? And that will be asked here. So they went to a very soft full court press and now going to a little zone. Going to the corner now. Baroka push shot, no good, and offensive rebounding an issue as always for Blackwater. Halalon, open look, no good, and a foul on the rebound.
So Magnolia struggling a little bit on the offensive side. Maybe with the change-up in the defense of Blackwater, playing a zone.
So there it is. So Corpus just getting a piece of Talomia on the rebound. And if you're Blackwater, you feel that you have the chance. You have a chance here to get this done. But things have to go right for you in the last 2 minutes or so. Talomia. Not that time, but Nabong offensive rebound, trying to find Paras. Paras hounded and fouled.
And I thought Paras was a little bit out of control there, but he got hit on the arm for that foul.
14 fouls for Magnolia right now, so a couple more already in foul trouble. Simon and Ciso finding Paras. He pulls up for the jumper. That is good. Just a 10-point lead all of a sudden for the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok.
Pick and pop play there for Blackwater. Great find by Simon and Ciso. Mid-range jumper for Andre Paras.
They need a bucket in a bad way. It's all about Magnolia. Momentum is with Blackwater, trying to navigate through the zone. Baroka on the attack, pulls up, and still no good. And the ball will go to the white shirts. And under 2 minutes, so they will review it.
Yep.
And
ooh, that's a close one. Maybe a different angle.
possibly a different angle, but they'll also look at the trajectory of the swipe of Baroka's hands, and if they follow just that, it might definitely be Blackwater's ball.
And the former FEU Tamaraos here, just having a word.
Let's take a look at that again from a different angle. So here's the rebound, and watch for the swipe of Baroka.
Ooh, might have been off Blackwater on that one. After the bounce, I think Richard Escoto got it.
So the question is, which angle do you believe?
We'll trust the referees in their call.
Magnolia will keep the ball here. 23 seconds on the shot clock. Mark Baroka gets his way. Still not out of the woods here. Magnolia with a 10-point lead. Remember, Blackwater have yet to have a win, but we've seen stranger things in the last few days here in the PBA. And if you're Blackwater, Jago, how do you get yourself back into this? How do you find ways to slow down a Magnolia team that you don't have so many offensive weapons?
What's important for Blackwater here is to try to force turnovers. That's what Meralco did in their run against Magnolia in the last 2 minutes. They put up a full court pressure defense against Magnolia, and Gio Halalan and the other guards were a little bit frantic and forced to a lot of turnovers. So I think Blackwater should try to do that and try to cut down to this lead.
So Magnolia want to stay at pace with the top 4 teams. They need a victory here to do that. And Blackwater Bossing just trying their best to get out of a tricky situation. They're not out of the woods just yet. If you look at the teams above them, Ginebra, Phoenix, and Alaska only have 2 wins to their name. So a chance for them to try and climb up the ladder, but they need to do it quickly. .140 left in the fourth. 10-point lead for Magnolia. If you're a Magnolia fan, you know that is not safe. And a foul, and the basket counts for Ian Sangalang. He put Andre Paras on the floor, and he finished anyway.
And I thought Andre Perez did a great job of forcing Sangalang on his right side, but Sangalang just strong enough and agile enough for that spin, still finishing with the left hand.
Sometimes just too tough to stop. And that was a bucket they needed in a bad way. Ian gets that to fall. And looks like Blackwater will be suing for time here. And And this timeout is brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. 90 to 77, still in favor of the Hotshots. And on the other end now, we talk a lot about what Blackwater need to do, but then how confident are you, if you're Coach Chito Victorero, that your boys will have the experience and the composure to see this one out, especially after what happened last time around?
I think they've learned their lessons from their last game. I'm sure they talked about that in practice. And as he said earlier in one of his interviews, that it's good that it happened to them early in the season rather than later in the playoffs or when it really matters.
90 to 77.
So if you're Blackwater here, you want to make sure that you get a quick shot off, maybe a 3, just to put that deficit down to 10 and put pressure right away once they hit that bucket.
Jerome De La Rosa checks in for Mark Baroca. So you have to feel that that is a defensive substitution, because they know that they have to stop Blackwater from scoring, and they have been scoring well here in the fourth quarter. Talking about the bossing.
And look at Magnolia switching it up in a zone defense, their own version of it.
And Seesaw, pull up 3, no good, and 2 white shirts got in the way. And a loose ball foul. And a penalty as well. Boy, double whammy there for the bossing.
I thought Enciso had a good look there. He usually makes those kinds of shots.
Gavin Obeva will shoot 2, so Simon Enciso has been missing in action for this Blackwater team. Of course, we say that with all due respect, only because of the fact that we know that he scores so much. But here, a bit of a struggle, only 5 points to his name so far, shooting 25% from the field.
So way below of his average, around 17, 16 points per game in Simon Enciso.
Abueva drains that one, extending the lead. So Blackwater forced to call for time. They need to get things done quickly. They need to get it done now. Will it happen? We'll find out. Well, the PBA will be back tomorrow, still at the Deep Sioux Gym. Here's the games happening. First at 2, we have Phoenix Super LPG Blue Masters against the NLX Road Warriors, and then the last one, Aces going up against the San Miguel Beermen. Again, 2 teams looking for bounce-back victories here in the PBA. Of course, the games on Saturday will be live on One Sports and the Smart Sports and Puso Pilipinas Facebook pages for the second game at 4:45 p.m. All games live still here on PBA Rush and over at the GigaFest.Smart app and site. Still a lot of basketball to be played. They need this bucket if they want to stay in this one. Not that time. And Ciso with another opportunity. No good. Boy, Blackwater missed his shooting today.
Yup, they actually had a great shooting first quarter. Some in the second and third, but in this fourth quarter, not a lot of 3-pointers for Blackwater.
Well, no late comeback here for the Blackwater bossing, and Magnolia will survive this one as we run out the last minute of the ball game. But of course, if something freaky happens in the last 50 seconds, then you can go back and post that in the freezing cold takes sites on social media. 92 to 77, but 2 free throws coming up for Mike Dolomia.
Let's talk about the schedule of the PBA. Every other day, there's going to be a game for your team. So imagine the practices and the rest. How will you balance that for your team, and especially the rotation in minutes? Because you don't want to, tire out your star players, especially coming into the playoffs.
How would you manage that in terms of the practices? Considering you're playing every other day, most likely your practices are possibly walkthroughs, but then you have players that need to stay warm and you have players that need to find their rhythm again. So you need to have a bit of action. It's a tough juggling, balancing act for these coaches and coaching staff.
Yep, you're correct. Actually, practices won't even be too hard, especially at this time, only 1 day rest. Some players wouldn't even be practicing, probably a lot of film. But for the bench guys, I'm sure they need to do extra work just to stay in shape because they're not really getting a lot of minutes during their game. So just a balance of your main players and the bench players.
So the Magnolia Hotshots are now heading towards a bounce-back victory after absorbing their first loss in the PBA Philippine Cup. And for the Blackwater, bossing is back to the throwing board again. And they know that they could have had this victory had it not been for possibly the amount of shots that they gave up in that third quarter in particular. Still so much to go through and a lot to work on for Coach Nash Rosella. So we're going to hold on to the air here as we take a look, of course, at what Magnolia need to do, especially moving on from here. And I think, Jegs, it has been issue their fourth quarter so far. At least in the last two games, let's take a look. They will advance to 5-1 once this victory is formalized. But then for Coach Chito, what do you need to do to make sure that, okay, the fourth quarter shouldn't be the time when we're the shakiest?
Well, most of the time, Magnolia is in control when that fourth quarter comes. So they have to make sure that they sustain the energy, sustain their level of execution, both on offense and on defense, just to make sure that they hold on to the lead and come up with the W.
Of course, for Blackwater, you have to feel that there's going to be a game wherein they don't miss again, and it might last for longer than a quarter, and maybe that victory can come there. Short shot clock there, and Amer will have to give that up. Again, just waiting for the final score to be formalized here. It would be a nice bounce-back win for the Magnolia Hotshots, Pambansang Manok, and of course the Blackwater bossing, absorbing another loss. 94-78 is the final score here between these two. And for Blackwater, you have to feel that they have a win in them. You have to feel that they have a chance to shock a big team like they almost did Magnolia today. Had that last minute or so, the fourth quarter ended for them. But until then, it's all about Magnolia. Our next ever player of the game is Mark Baroca, 16 points and 7 assists. That's brought to you by Honda, the official motorcycle of the PBA. He is ageless and got things done in every possible way.
Just a steady point guard here for Magnolia, doing the most of the playmaking for their team, efficient from the field, and adding 7 assists to his stat line, so he's making everyone better and also getting his own shots as well.
Of course, when you have a guy like Mark Baroca, that steady hand, he is the heartbeat of the team. He is able to find ways to make sure that the team doesn't slump too much. Even when we talked about their slump, he always found a way to get things done. And you have to feel for them. Take a look at the updated schedules here. So Magnolia go up to 5-1, and Blackwater still 0-6. But still, if things happen the right way, if things fall the right way, you have to feel Blackwater still have a shot at making things happen for them.
It's the consistency for Blackwater that they have to work on. You have to make sure that they play the right way, they play consistent in every quarter, just so that they have a chance in the end game.
Let's listen in to Coach Chito and Mark Baroca.
Post-game interview. Joining us are Coach Chito Victolero and our best player, Mark Baroca from Magnolia Pambansang Manok Hotshots. Mark, how did your team prepare for this particular opponent, Blackwater?
Siguro kami yung mentally mindset kami namin kasi siyempre yung last game namin, so sobrang frustrated namin pagkatapos sa dugout. Pero dinala namin yung dito sa game namin as a motivation namin kasi nga ayun na namin mangyari ulit yun eh. Kasi nga siyempre maganda yung tinatakbo ng team. So kung lagi kami ganun, baka mawala na kami ng kumpiyansa eh. So nag-usap-usap lang kami. Yung mga positive na nangyari doon, nadali na namin sa next game namin. Kasi alam naman namin itong 3 games namin, crucial yung mindset eh. Kasi nga every other day yung games. So parang playoffs na. So natalo kami, so move forward. So nag-prepare kami sa next game namin. So ngayon, which is nanalo kami ngayon ng magandang lead namin. And then i-credit din namin sa, siyempre, hindi lang sa first 5 namin, especially sa second team din namin, at saka third team namin na hinugot ni coach kasi nag-contribute talaga. Kasi mapapahinga rin yung mga ibang players na kasi naglaro ng isang araw. Kasi may game pa kami next the following day. So, kailangan din mag-rest ng iba. So, yun, contribution kami lahat. So, credit kay la coach na ginawa niya ngayon, yung ganong strategy.
For Coach Chito, gaya ng sabi ni Mark, when you have to play almost every other day, how important po is it to extend your rotation and give more minutes to your bench players?
Yeah, it's very important right now because on the last 5 days, I think meron kaming 3 game. So every other day may game kami and I need to manage the minutes of my players so that para lang maging fresh sila pag nasa court. And I think nagawa namin ngayon yon because it's a testament doon sa depensa namin. We pressure the ball and we create a lot of turnovers. Also, good job, tama si Mark, good job dun sa third group. Na-sustain nila yung energy doon sa court nung ginamit namin yung third group namin.
Coach, what was the biggest lesson learned from your loss against Meralco?
Yeah, talagang very sad and frustrated kami nung after ng game. But, you know, it's a good and bad eh. It's bad because we controlled the game for 46 minutes and then on the last 2 minutes, na-out of focus kami, we relax and then natalo kami. It's good because it happens early in the conference and also we have a chance to para makorek namin yung mga mali namin. And I told to my players, it will not happen again, na it's a breakdown mentally. Tingin ko, not only physical, but the most crucial there is the mental. So, we control the game, we have a good preparation, but we break down the last 2 minutes. And it's good for us, it happens early in the conference, so that nakokorek namin lahat ng mali namin.
Okay, Coach. Now we turn you over to our press friends. First up is Ian Suyo of Tribune. Okay, Mr. Ian.
And Coach, good afternoon and congrats for the win. I'd
Thank
like
you,
to ask
Ian.
Coach, ano yung assessment nyo sa performance ni Jeric Ahanmisi, Coach? 12 points and impressive shooting game for today.
Thanks, Ian. We expect that from Jeric. We expect his contribution. And happy ako kahit paano nakalabas na siya dun sa box eh. Okay, so yung iniinsayo niya, yung attitude niya, yung binibigay niyang extra practice, I think nagbubunga na yon. And I think tuloy-tuloy lang yung confidence niya, yung binibigay na tulong ng mga guards ko, especially Paul and Mark, yung guidance nila. I think malaking bagay yon para kay Jeric. And not also, we try to train Jeric to be a two-guard player. We want him to play defense and we want him to shoot that ball para lang makaspread yung floor para sa amin.
The Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok get the victory, but it was hard-earned, especially after the hot shooting on the Blackwater bossing in that first quarter, Diego.
So Blackwater Started off hot with a couple of threes, 5 straight 3-pointers for them in that first quarter. But Magnolia just using their experience, playing the right way the whole time. As you can see, Khalid Nabong showing us his guard skills with that step back 3-pointer.
They led by as much as 10 points at the first quarter, but credit Magnolia for chipping away and coming within 4 going into the second. But here in the second quarter, we saw signs of things to come. So Blackwater still found ways to hit their shots, but Magnolia finally started pressuring better on the defensive end and started hitting shots of their own.
And they were still there. They were still in the game in this second quarter. Talking about Blackwater, just down 3 at the end of that first half. But it's the third quarter woes for Blackwater that's really been giving them some challenges this conference.
Well, that has been the bogey quarter for the Blackwater bossing. They were outscored 26-16 again. When I say again, it's because they have lost another quarter by double-digit figures in the third in particular. So that has been something that they haven't been able to shake off here in the restart of the PBA.
So again, the consistency for Blackwater will be the question in their next games. They were down 13 at the end of the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter, it was all Magnolia. A lot of their shots going in, especially this guy. Paul Lee got it going, shooting some logo threes in the fourth.
Well, I think it's safe to say that that guy, Paul Lee, can score. And if you didn't know that, well, now you do. And of course, Mark Baroka was the best player of the game. Even when Blackwater felt like they were getting back into this contest, you had to feel that Magnolia had the experience from guys like Ian Sangalang, from Mark Baroka, Paul Lee, and to an extent, Gio Alalon as well, who were able to make sure that this wouldn't get away from them, unlike last time around.
And that's what you want from your best players, just giving them the contributions for the W.
94-78 is the final score in favor of the Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok. And right after this, Barangay Ginebra played their first game of the restart against a team that just pulled off a monumental upset against the Terra Firma G. My name is Paulo Del Rosario. Thank you very much for joining us. Jago Dario will still be with you for the next one.